All right, it's 12 o'clock noon. Call the meeting to order. Call roll, please.
All right. Black.
Here.
Larson.
Here.
Blair. Brady.
Here.
Beck.
Here.
Corkin.
Here.
Helm.
Here.
Melton.
All right, approval of minutes from August 17th, 2021.
I'll move to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Bills and communications. Any questions on that?
Anything abnormal or?
Nope, doesn't look like
Basically normal.
it. Yeah, it doesn't look like it to me either.
I move to approve. I'll second.
Time out. We don't need to approve that. These are just review.
Okay.
The only time we have to approve them is with the city council. We're in regular session tonight, and they would be dealing with the bills tonight.
Okay, even better.
All right. Reports. Delinquency updates.
We have no delinquencies.
Are you sure, Paul? This is too many in a row.
I just tell them that Josh is going to power up.
Yeah, I bet that
You're going
works.
to have to.
All right, let's move on to financial reports.
Thank you. Everybody was sent information on each account and the activity in it for the month, and in the packet is the cash amount for those accounts. Activity for the month was normal, with normal payments towards principal and interest, and normal payments for normal expenses like in Sunshine Terrace, utilities and such. So you can see what the balances are for cash. Any questions?
Any questions for Carla?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Directors' reports.
Reflects a summary of what happened during the month of August. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions for Paul? No? Okay. Unfinished business, update on USEDA and deed programs.
I updated the reports that are included in your packet. I also included something that came from the deed Department of Employment and Economic Development. They have a developments blog, so I took that down and included that as well, and it shows the same information that I'm giving you.
Any questions? So you're going to put that 300 million in our account, right?
Anytime, yes.
Thank you, sir.
Do we have a president's share? Is that what you're saying?
Mr. Horkin, he talked to me earlier and said he'd match.
Okay.
I guess one question, any feedback, Paul, from your conversations with the daycare providers for the child care grant program?
They're very pleased that we're going to be moving forward in January with that. We were told that our application was accepted. We're moving forward in January, which is when they would like, the company would like to move forward with it. And I plan to try to meet with them sometime in October to start to move forward and get ready for what we have to do after the first of the year. In addition, part of the deed funds are for child care, and I provided that information to all of them so they can also apply for dollars through there, because some of them are providers and they could take advantage of that.
Any other questions on those two programs? New business. NW PIC report. Janelle Wald-Kovar.
Come on up at a chair, probably.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me today. My name is Janelle. I'm the Executive Director of the Northwest Private Industry Council, which is the local workforce board for Area 1, which covers the counties of Polk, Pennington, Red Lake, Roseau, Kitson, Marshall, and Norman. Oh, is it on? Okay. Is this
Before you
thing
go
on?
any further, Janelle sent an agenda which we put on in front of you for what she's going to be talking about.
So we have workforce partners that include DEED, adult basic education, private business, and economic development, so on and so forth. So the reason that I'm here today is because cities get things done and play a critical role in building economic development for your city. So I'm also the Association of Minnesota Counties Workforce Board, Minnesota Association of Workforce Board representative, as well as the statewide Business Services Committee chair. Just to kind of paint the picture, the relationship between the workforce boards, city and private business, and the call to action for the workforce board in terms of working directly with economic development. Talent is the lifeblood of economic growth, and as the economy continues to create jobs, companies will need more help than ever in finding, training, and retaining talent. Businesses across industry sectors continue to report they're having a hard time finding workers with the right skills for their jobs. Your work, the work of a workforce development board system in collaboration with economic development across the Sutton County area plays a central role in building the talent pipeline for the future. One area in particular that I have shared before, but that I would like to expand on a little bit, the board contracts out services to the Intercounty Community Council, which is a local community action agency. They deliver employment and training services that can help businesses with on-the-job training, apprenticeship, which I think is a strong workforce solution for the local area, as well as incumbent worker training. So historically, our region has always had a very low unemployment rate. So we receive a decent amount of dislocated worker funding that doesn't get utilized because we just simply don't have the dislocated workers to expend all of the funding. So we work with a subsect called the incumbent worker training. And what that is it's for employers to take existing staff and upskill them. nwpic.net, and then there's a link, incumbent worker grant funding available application. You just click there. The application goes directly to me and is reviewed by the board, and we reimburse 90% for real small businesses, and then it continues 50%, and there's a ratio, number of employees to the amount of reimbursement that we provide. We also fund professional development. So if you're a LLC sole prop, we'll fund train the trainer opportunities, leadership development, and so it's our most exciting funding stream because we have a little bit of flexibility that we can provide to help businesses. And if I get an application, I work really hard to get you funded. So. The other thing I want to share that the Northwest Private Industry Council does really well and that we have historically done well, at least the last 3 to 5 years, is we every year we deliver a really well done training on hot button issues. So in the past, and the events are typically held in Thief River Falls, but the last couple of years they've also been smaller training has been held, like an offshoot has been held in Crookston as well. So in the past, we've brought in a group called We Are All Criminals. We've done mental health in the workforce, as well as last year we did intercultural understanding in the workplace. So This year, or this coming year, March of 2022, we're going to work on a public-private partnership and bring in Tyler King with the Candio High CEO project. And what he's going to do is talk about what their county has done in collaboration with him as both an educator and a private business owner to ultimately start looking for new ways to work with K through 12, then as they enter into their next chosen path, so technical college, workforce, and then how that feeds into ultimately building our talent pipeline, workforce, and really better serving the employer and the community. So those are some of the highlights of what we do, and just wondering if you guys have any questions and what your needs may be. And yeah,
I'm just curious of, you're talking about the incumbent worker training
Yep.
program and the reimbursement for businesses based on a scale or whatnot. How many, do you know offhand how many businesses have utilized that?
so it's really very underutilized. So I'll get just a couple, maybe a handful of applications actually received. So
Okay, so my next question then is, are you guys pushing a lot of that information out to the businesses, or what's the best route to get that information to the businesses?
That's one of the reasons Janelle's here, is because
Sure.
Yeah.
we're televised, and that's one of the reasons Janelle and I have been working on this together, is to try to find ways to expand the ways to get information out. One of the other things we've done recently is we've worked with a representative from Train ND, their Northeast office, because they have training modules as well that we can pay. They go out and they actually reach out to businesses, and they can reach out to businesses on both sides of the river, provide training on this side of the river. We can reimburse for some of that training so that there's a better outreach than what we've had in the past as well.
So the employer would submit the application for funding, and then the board reviews it. But as long as the trainer is the trainer that the business wants and best fits their needs, it doesn't matter what state the trainer resides in. I mean, if they're in Minnesota, that's always a positive. But
When I just look at this, I think it's a great, just listening about it, I think it's a great program for people that are within an industry that want to move up in that business and stay with that company, but that company maybe doesn't have the best tools to train them for, positions that maybe needed technical college or college that person didn't go to, that maybe this can offer some of, and the types of training they need to get to that position. I think we're in, obviously uncharted times with everybody needs employees, and there's a major shortage of workers, but I think it's obviously a great way to utilize people within an organization to keep them in there, move them up, and then bring in new unskilled labor to fill positions that maybe they were in that might be easier to fill rather than,
yeah,
I guess I don't know
exactly.
for sure on
Yeah.
how that works, but I could see that it'd be a great program to utilize, especially with the reimbursement.
If I could, Josh,
Yes, sir.
can we go around the table and each of you tell Janelle what your business is? Because everybody in here is working for somebody in some place. So, Dale,
Triangle Coach Service, charter bus business,
and you need bus drivers?
bus drivers, mechanics.
Okay.
Ben Orkin, RJ's Ivo and Sons. Operators, drivers,
Okay.
labor.
I should be
Everything.
writing this down.
Justin Hecht, CNH Insurance. Been pretty fortunate lately to find a couple new employees that have been really good. So, but again, we've struggled in the past too to find positions to fill.
What about admin? Is that going okay?
Yep.
Administrative? Okay, good.
She's good.
Thank you.
She's helped me on numerous occasions.
Great.
Josh Grindy, Right Choice Electric. Parts right now.
She has more
Supplies.
difficulty with the parts.
I didn't hear that program
than with people.
Always looking for good hands.
Do you have apprentice programs, for example?
So I would serve as a liaison to the Department of Labor apprenticeship, operations, but I can connect you guys and get you some, sort of almost like technical assistance, not really, but, I can get you in the right place and elevate the information that you would have, received to get you, better answers quicker, that kind of thing. So, and then depending on the person in the position or the applicant, we might be able to weave some of the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act funding dollars in as well. So it would just kind of depend on the scenario and once we would actually sit down and take a look at it. But there are a lot of different possibilities there, so I just want to make sure that you guys know that we're here, who we are, and to always reach out. So, sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
Brian Larson. I work at UND Facilities Management, and don't laugh here, but I need electricians, carpenters, painters, plumbers, HVAC technicians.
Okay, slow down. No. Okay.
We can email you a list later.
Yeah. We literally have
Okay.
20 openings for custodians, 20
Okay.
plus. I think we would hire 30 if we could.
Are you kidding me?
Landscapers and
I'll
then
take an
operators.
application.
Yeah.
Anybody that walks will work for him.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so, just our job has a little bit of everything to take care of the campus, but, yeah, we're really feeling the tight labor market, especially at the frontline employee, entry-level employee aspects.
Okay. Thank you.
Groundskeeper.
My name is Daniel Black. I work for American Crystal Sugar. We need laboratory personnel, we need PTs, we need electricians, we need certified welders, we need millwrights, we need regular operators, people who can handle heavy equipment. We also need, on the other side, we have seasonal employees, and we're always looking for harvest employees too. So, lots of entry level, as well as lots of room to move up. I know that we have some apprenticeship stuff that we do, and we partnered with other schools to do that. But yeah, it's kind of our needs.
Okay, great.
So could
Thank
they
you.
hire somebody, for example, and then come to you and say, help me train them?
Once through the incumbent worker training, we would help you upskill existing employees.
Sure.
So,
And can that be, how broad is that spectrum of training?
so for example, a lawyer could not use the funding for a CLE credit or continuing legal education course if it is required for them to keep their license.
You okay, buddy?
No.
Well,
How about if I needed, I'll give you an example, if I needed someone to get MSHA trained, which is
I was gonna say, I don't know what that is.
it's like a mining, it's like mining certification. Could I take an employee that doesn't have that and where this would fall into?
I
or-
believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're wanting to
Just
get them
curious.
into that, that path. Yeah, we would for sure take a look at it, and if not, then I would at least provide some other ideas what you might, path you might be able to explore to get some reimbursement or funding. So
Great.
yeah.
Since it doesn't sound like a whole lot of people knew about this before today, because I know I didn't. Is there any way that maybe you guys could partner together and create like a Facebook post or something, and we could get that out on social media?
We've been doing some of that already.
Yep.
But yes.
I just
Yeah.
figured I'd ask the question, because that's one channel that we do have to kind of reach out to a lot of these places, and a lot of the smaller businesses around here have a Facebook page. Some of them, that is their website, so.
So I have been partnering with economic development, the ones that I have access to, across the 7-county area, like as I partner with Paul to look for different ways to get the information out there. It is out there in a traditional sense, but it's good to take a different approach sometimes to get people to pay attention to it. So. But it's nwpic.net, and then it's the only link on the homepage. And then in your agenda packets, you guys should have my contact information. You
Why
can.
don't you say it for the studio audience?
Oh, sure. So.
Broadcast.
So my direct line would be 218-791-7703.
What's that number?
218-791-7703.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
She has it all on here, too.
Yeah.
Yep. But I'm thinking of the audience that we have watching. There may be some
Oh, I forget
businesses or
about
whomever.
that.
And that's
Contact her.
my cell number, because
I don't care.
our offices are still by appointment only, so I'm typically on the road in the 7-county area. And then the comprehensive site is at the Career Force Center in Thief River Falls inside Northland Community and Technical College. And then we also have affiliate site in Crookston and Roseau. So, thank you.
Great.
Thanks, Janelle.
Yeah, nice to meet you all and re-meet some of you.
Yeah, my pen.
Here's your pen.
Thank you.
And,
cheap
yeah, if I
also.
can
Comes in
help,
here and she tries to steal the pen,
just
too.
feel free to send
Thank
me
you
an
for
email.
coming.
So, yeah, you bet.
Thanks,
Take care.
Janelle.
See you later.
Yeah,
See ya.
bye guys, have a great meeting.
All right.
And ladies.
I'm trying to bring in somebody like this each month as we can, because there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and it's opportunities for businesses, but it's hard to get the word out to everybody. So the more that we can do on things like that, I think it's better off that we are.
Yeah, that was good.
Good stuff.
And I would agree. It's so hard to get these programs communicated out effectively, just with everything that we see in a day, right? It's hard to get it to stick. But there's a lot of value here
Right.
for a lot of employers.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if you could get MSHA 40 or MSHA 10 training
Correct.
for all your guys,
Right.
you know, that's a heck of an asset, and then they'll have that for their whole career.
Yeah.
So, just good stuff.
I agree, and I think it's one of those things where we all want to retain employees, especially long-term employees, and move them up within organizations if we can, but they might not have the skill set to do that, where if you
Or
can
not want to.
If you can but if they want to, but they don't have the skill set for an opening, now we can,
Train them.
businesses can look at utilizing this to probably get them trained, get them up in that higher up position, stay within the organization, be able to do better for themselves, and then, fill their position with maybe something that was not as a skilled labor, and get reimbursed for it. I mean, I didn't know, like Daniel said, I didn't know that this was available.
So question on that, I guess, for Josh in your industry, if there's like an entry-level laborer and he wanted to become an apprentice electrician, what's his next step to get into that program?
For like, at my place, so you come in, I think I got 4 this year that I hired right out of high school, whatever, bring them in. Then we have our own apprenticeship training program in school that we send them to. And I pay for it.
Okay.
They pay for their books, it's college credits, 4 years. When you're done with them 4 years, you're ready to go write your journeyman's test.
Okay. And are you associated with a union or not? Non-union.
It's IEC, Independent Electrical Contractors.
Got it.
It's in the old grain testing building right next by McManamy's, and
sure.
that's where the school is.
Got it. Okay. And if you were a union, it's a similar program.
Similar program.
Put your years in, take your test, and
Yep.
move on.
Yep.
So is there a step from that guy who just has a shovel to become an electrician? To become an apprentice electrician? Is that
That shovel is a tool in your pouch.
the same entry level
Same.
position? Okay, that was my question.
Yep.
To go from the pay scale of a laborer to the pay scale of an apprentice electrician.
You'll never get anybody for labor or wages. You'll never get them. In this day and age, you can't live on it either. When a hamburger at McDonald's costs more than you're making an hour, you know what I mean?
Well, you bring up a great point, though, too, I mean, I don't know if anybody's looked at the housing market lately around here, but there's not a whole lot of inventory out there to attract some of these people that come and actually live here.
Well,
Which
and
is making things tough.
Even that, but what's out there for sale is,
Exactly.
I don't care if it's a
So
house, I don't care if it's a
That-
building.
That's
I don't
another
care.
issue that has to be addressed in economic development is where are these people going to live when they come in when there isn't anything here?
Right.
So how do we keep them in our community and not have them go across the river or they're over in Crookston or something else? I mean, it's something else that we have to be looking at. And I mean, I would encourage probably the city council to take a look at some of that stuff, see what we can do.
One of the problems in greater Minnesota has to do with the appraisal value of a new home is lower than the cost to build the home, so that they don't appraise at a value adequate to cover the mortgage. So that's another issue. The Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities is working on that. There's a bill that's been introduced in the state legislature to try to address some of those issues, and there'll be a lot more discussion on that coming up, because it is an issue statewide and nationally as well.
But even with that, look at last year, when I was looking to buy a building, I come over here, there's nothing.
I don't have any.
There's no
inventory.
land, there's no, yeah, I can,
Right. And that's kind of,
I
I
couldn't-
mean, you can't just all of a sudden have something when there's nothing there.
right.
So that is an issue.
We only have a few parcels of industrial land. Zavro has a few acres of industrial land. Drummer Diesel has a few acres of land, but other than that, there's very little industrial land
Nothing.
available.
I mean, I looked at, okay, buy a building and doze it over and, well, you can't afford that.
I mean, it's a problem. It's a real problem for us.
And half that work with me live over here. So it made sense on that aspect for me. Okay, let's go. But there's nothing. So it's not just housing either.
Right.
You know, like I see that one in here, that wondering if we'll buy. But, okay, look at that. What can we repurpose that into? Not a lot.
Preaching to the choir on most of this
We're
stuff.
beating a dead horse, yeah.
I've been talking about this for at least a year and a half now, so.
Oh, and this has been a problem before any of us got on here.
Right.
And we know, we've talked about this before too, a lot of older housing, you know, typically in communities that starts as starter homes for people, was wiped out for us after the flood and tore
flood, yeah.
down. So, I mean, we always struggle with that. You
And
can't,
then look at the
you
land
can't
that was
build,
taken.
you can't build new houses and consider them first-time homebuyer houses.
Well, that and the land.
Yeah.
Well, but yeah, actually, you can. I mean, communities do that all the time in other places. They build starter homes for a reason. I mean, that's not an impossibility. We just don't have anywhere to do it at right now.
Land, there are land use regulation issues, there are code issues, there are the cost of land, there are cost of materials. The fact that we have to bring in a lot of materials here makes it costly, because we don't have materials that we create locally that we can use. So there's a lot of factors that go into the cost of our housing right now.
And lumber's kind of expensive too, so.
Oh, and it's not going to get any cheaper. And I don't care what it isn't going to get cheaper.
But I'm just saying that that's also part of the issue of filling some of these lower level jobs or even these middle level skilled jobs is, you know, having places for those people. I mean, I don't know if anybody's looked at the rent cost either. I mean, rent seems to be going up quite dramatically too. I mean,
Right.
in some cases you can get a mortgage cheaper than you can rent an apartment. So, but there isn't a house there, so you're stuck with an apartment.
And I think some of that problem is what expectations are out of them first-time home buyers. They want that instant gratification that takes years to build. to afford even.
So we ever thought about having a bus run from Crookston, like DigiKey does? You know, if we had, for, you know, because there's much cheaper housing there, and there are homes available, and you had, you know, so people wouldn't have to drive all the time, you know, you, bus left at 7 in the morning from Crookston, left here at 5:30 at night. I don't know. I mean, that's what DigiKey had to look outside of the box to get their employees, and they've done a very good job at doing that. They, you know, they also looked at daycares for shift works, and, you know, those are some things we probably just do some
Well, and I
wild thinking and see what we can come up with.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Dale, but Motor Coach has done that for years. Ship people from, I think you haul them too, don't you?
Well, used to, but they quit because the ridership was down, but that's the other thing too, they're closing in Pembina, moving everything to Crookston.
For sure.
Going to happen eventually. They got a contract they have to get finished first, but I think it's going to, so,
It's going to kill that town.
oh,
I think the only problem with that with our community is we don't have a direct business that they're busing people to like DigiKey like that. I mean, yeah, you can have a drop-off point if people want to ride a bus to come to work in town here, but then how do they get to the job from there? You know, it would be a major hurdle in itself as well. I mean, if we have one employer that gets a lot of people, if American Crystal can find 40 employees that live in a certain town that they can hire to work here, then yeah, that'd be a great opportunity to do something like that, but.
Generally, it wouldn't be Crookston since we kind of already have a factory there. So.
Right, but you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
They're the largest employer in East Grand Forks, where that would be, you know, the only thing that'd be similar to DigiKey, where you could have a direct route from one town to the employer. Where,
you're busing to Hillsborough right now, aren't you?
They have a bus that runs from Moorhead to Hillsborough. So.
We just started this last weekend, Marvin Windows in Grafton, all employees there.
Wow.
Out of Grand Forks, so. But there again, there's not a lot of ridership yet, but they're hoping to get it built up. Trying.
Sure.
So, I mean, all these small towns around are they're all trying to pull out of the Grand Forks area, which is, you know,
And it's already
and
hurting
us
here.
people right here in Grand Forks can't even find help, you know, but, so.
All right. Border Cities tax credit request.
Northern Valley Machine is still being asked to relocate out of the area. One of the ways that we can act is to work with them to reduce their tax burden. We would use the Border Cities tax credits to reduce their property tax burden. In doing that, they will retain at least 68 employees, and they expect to expand to not less than 71 employees over the 3-year period. For the tax credits, we would need to dedicate up to $120,000 in tax credits. We've provided over $106,000 in tax credits per year from the state, so we have capacity to do this.
And how long does this?
This will be for 3 years.
3 years. So this would give them a 3-year commitment.
Yes.
So it's exactly what we're just talking about. Of
Exactly.
the people that we need to keep in this town.
Exactly. Not run them out.
Looking for, go ahead, Justin.
Paul, is that 120,000 a year or 120,000 over 3 years?
Over 3 years, $40,000 per year.
I mean, honestly, to tell you the truth, not that it matters to me because of what we have a balance and what we receive each year. I think this is a great fit for what these credits are for.
A prime example for it.
Yeah, this is exactly what these are meant for.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to.
I'll second that.
Ben.
Justin.
I didn't. Do we have a limit on how much credit we can use on one business per year, or?
No. Yes, because we can't use more credits than we have available to us.
Well,
so
correct.
we have an available balance of over 500,000, so that is the effective cap. The tax, we will be using approximately $30,000 to $35,000 per year of tax credits for Northern Valley Machine. What I did is I made sure there was enough so we don't have to go back to the council and ask for them to approve an additional amount within the 3-year period.
Right, well, and that's only a third of what we get every year.
Yes, that's about 40% of what we get each
I
year.
mean, we're not even talking about even having to dig into our balance hardly.
That's right.
You know, and I only ask that because, I mean, this is, like I said, it's a perfect example of keeping a large employer in town that we need, where I think we need to utilize these to our full extent, not just having a tax credit balance just sitting in an account and doing nothing with it.
Remember, we also committed to Mayo Manufacturing for their expansion.
Yep.
But we're waiting till the building comes up to full value, so that will have impact. And I have worked with the county assessor's office
But
on
again,
that as
even
well.
between those two, we're still not even used the balance of what we get every year as additional.
And remember we talked last year that there are additional ways to do it, so I'm starting to talk with some of the businesses on the other ways to do it. There's a tax credit for new hires, and there's a tax credit for employees retained. It's $3,000, up to $3,000 per new hire, and it's up to $1,500 per employee retained. We talked about that. One of the biggest difficulties is if you have high depreciation, because you're buying new equipment with depreciation schedules, you can't necessarily take advantage of the tax credit, the employee tax credit, because it would sit there and wouldn't be used quickly enough over time.
I think this is another program that we need to, highly publicize and get out there to our businesses within East Grand Forks. I know that we have to keep some of these credits in order to potentially entice somebody to come here too. But again, like we just talked about, we have nowhere to bring anybody. We have no space available to bring a business to town. I guess it'd be more of something if a business found land that they found themselves and we're bringing something to town. But I think we need to look at ways of utilizing those and rather just having a balance of tax credits sitting in an account doing nothing.
Yeah.
We have to use it for industry.
Yep.
All right, you want to call roll?
Black,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Grandy,
Yes.
Peck,
Yes.
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Job. Okay, Sicky's Garage Forgivable Loan Reuse Funds.
We committed $24,999 to Sickies for a forgivable loan. They had to meet an employment standard, and they had to remain open in order for the loan to remain current. They are now closed. The loan is in default. We have asked for repayment on the loan. For that $24,999, do we want to try to reallocate those funds into some other thing? How do we want to reuse those funds? Just give me
Absolutely.
some guidance on how we want to do it.
I-
And then we'd have to set up how we advertise to have businesses apply.
What's the time frame on receiving these funds, I guess, would be my question.
When they pay it, we've asked for payment in early October.
Okay.
And there's actually about 68 cents or 69 cents per day interest being charged in that loan too.
So my thought, I guess, would be, I don't know what the group says, but to send it back to the loan committee to figure out how to use that money.
I agree.
That would be my thought, is that would be the first place, and then get recommendations from the loan committee.
I would like to see it stay in the restaurant sector, though, just as a,
I don't disagree, but I think
but
that's
I
probably
think
the
the loan
best
committee
way
should take care of it.
to go with it right now.
Are there any other monies? Did we use the full extent? Everybody did their loan application and got their funds?
We committed 100% of the funds that were
Correct.
allocated by the city council.
Okay. So
We
that's-
have everything back from the one, we have all the documentation from every business back now.
Just so you're not revisiting this twice.
Right.
I think the hard part about this, though, is that when we've looked at that list in the past of everybody that qualifies and how many restaurants there actually are, if we leave it for that sector, and this is obviously up for the loan committee to give us the recommendations, but $24,999 isn't going to go very far if we get a bunch of applicants. It's better than nothing, I get that, but how do we allocate it is going to be the hard thing, I think.
And the restaurants that received $24,999 before,
They would be
wouldn't
capped.
be eligible, correct? Because the $25,000
It triggers
comes in
additional
the-
reporting requirements if we go to 25,000. So it reduces the field of eligible users. I'm sorry?
Couldn't we give it to them in 2022? That restriction is only for 1 year.
The forgivable loan is a 3-year program.
Well, what I'm saying is that 25,000?
We'd have to start a whole new program, and they'd have to apply under a new program for it.
Back to it, I think
This is why I wanted to,
Yeah.
I think it should go to the
I
loan
was just
committee.
going to say, I think we should
That's fine.
And
do it that way.
that way then we have Carla there and we have Ron there.
Correct.
So
And
the balance
that's
that they
my
were
thought.
supposed to pay
I agree.
on October 4th is 25,133.
Yes.
26 cents, so everybody knows, basically $25,000.
So they have agreed to pay that? I mean,
We've sent it to them. I have
Well,
not heard back
it's
from them.
part of their loan
But it-
default deal that
yeah, I understand that, but I mean,
they don't
they're,
have a choice.
yeah, well, they're not in business here anymore. Are we going to be able to collect it is my
We
question,
will,
I guess.
we
Yes.
will find a way to collect it from them. yes.
Because did they own the building or did they not?
Yes.
I thought they owned the building, yes.
And they sold that, so they should have,
Mm-hmm.
they should have funds to pay this. Okay.
I would agree with the loan committee. That seems to make the most sense.
Yep.
And then I'd be interested in a conversation about using this dollars for a new food and beverage industry to kind of fill that space. You know, is this an incentive that can be considered to help get someone back in that empty building? It's a shame that it's empty for East Grand Forks.
It's already spoken for.
Okay, well then let's talk with them and see if that's a real deal then.
Can we use, because of the way the program was set up, can we use dollars for that for a new business that wasn't in
I
business
think
before?
that's a great question.
I
that
think
we'll
we'd
need
have
talk
to
with
look
Ron
into
about.
it.
Yes.
Be a loan committee thing.
Yeah, I'm not, I don't
So
remember.
basically, we,
Okay. I didn't remember the parameters of how we set that up, but I thought that there was something in there that had said they had to be in business during.
Right, well,
And
that's why,
certain
yeah,
times.
that's why I would say if we go to the loan committee, we can get some
direction.
legal direction from that and some
Right.
financial, and we can,
I think it's a great
Figure
idea.
out
I'm
how
just
to do
asking the
this.
question.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
they
so the
have-
question on the table here is do we want to reuse them funds?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm hearing yes, and go to the loan committee.
I agree.
do we
Okay.
need
That's
a
what I hear.
motion or anything, or we just give them
No,
direction?
just, you're giving me direction, that's
Okay.
fine.
So you don't want a roll call vote?
No, we don't, since he's going back to the committee, that's
Okay,
fine.
good.
Everybody, no, I don't
That
have any
makes sense.
objection to that.
All right, additional COVID business assistance program.
The mayor asked if we should be looking at any additional COVID assistance programs. The biggest program we need right now is employees. And nothing, no matter how many dollars or anything we throw at that, we're not going to solve that issue. And that's why Janelle was here today, is to talk to how do we address some of those issues and get employees and train employees. So at this point, I don't know that there's anything that we can do except watch and monitor and see if there's something we need to step in. And again, have the loan committee look at this if we get further along and think we need to do something.
Can we put on our Facebook page what people are looking for? I mean, because, I know when they talk about the hits, when they come in, they'll say, oh, we have people from the cities and here. So, oh, excuse me, it's just water. So, okay, we can put on RJ Zappos, we're looking for this. Can we put that on our Facebook page? Because we know people are going, and looking at the city or whatever and put those things in.
If they would post it, we will share it,
Okay.
okay? They just have to let me know so we can share it. Whether
So, I mean,
it's
that's something we could get out to the
Crystal, RJ
businesses,
Zavro,
so.
That's a great idea.
Dale,
Businesses,
whatever.
Yeah,
Let me
that's
know
actually
because we
a
share
circulation.
Good
things all
idea
the
that,
time.
I mean, as you reach out to businesses, if there's some stuff that they want to put out there, I mean, yeah, we can definitely share that and utilize it. I think that's a wonderful idea.
And you have to get it out to everybody, because others say, well, how come
Oh, for
Ben's got
sure.
his on, and how
Don't
come
treat
Dale? Well,
any
they're on the
different than
committee.
Dale or Crystal or
Right.
whoever.
And,
Right.
and not even just that, but I mean, another thing too, that maybe we need to be branching out in social media is on LinkedIn as well, if that's the route we're going to go. Because that's definitely more of a job, business type social media. So
We've
looking
left
for some
that-
of those skilled workers.
We left that in abeyance, and that's something we can go back and do, and that's something that is in the report, is to look at things such as LinkedIn.
Well, and Josh and I were just at a little mini conference the other day, and they talked about how Facebook, and wasn't it Instagram, are the most used?
Yeah,
Those two. I mean, the other ones are, and actually the younger people are actually using the Facebook more than the other ones now. He said it's kind of
Right.
shifting. So we should just make sure we use the Facebook
I
as
see
much as
Taylor
possible.
next week, so I can talk with her.
All right, Top Quality Motors.
The ownership of Top Quality Motors has retired. They asked if we would like to purchase the property. I told them I did not think so, but I would bring it to the attention of the EDA in case they wish to make the purchase of the property. Otherwise, I told them we'd be happy to work with them to find a user.
Yeah, I'd say no. I don't think it's anything the city could use for anything.
Well, that's what,
Of selling property.
yeah, well,
We don't
that,
have to
and, you know, I'm thinking, what could we fill it with? That'd be a different thing, but if that was the case, then he'd be able to sell it to them.
Right.
Yeah, it'd be better to use like some of our tax credits to entice someone over.
Correct.
Rather than trying to play realtor, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will take that as direction that no, but we will assist.
It sounds like he's got somebody interested in leasing it anyway,
I've heard that too.
so.
All right, Lucasen request.
Lucasen bought 2 residential lots. He was going to build on one and then build on the other one and going to live in one of the homes for a short time and then move over to the new one. They have reported that the builder backed out for the second home. He asked if we would like to buy the lot back. I said, I do not think so. We want you to build on it. And so I said I would bring it to you, but I said, in my opinion, I do not expect us to be interested in purchasing the lot back from you. Not only that, they called yesterday, his realtor called yesterday and asked if they could sell the lot themselves. They could find a buyer. I said, do it. Get it done.
They can. Okay, because there's correspondence in here that conflicts that.
I
That was
understand
my
that, but
question.
You know, at this point, we want the lot sold,
Okay,
so we're backing off on on something like that.
great. I think that's.
Unless you want me to do it otherwise.
No, I was
I
either
don't
going to
wanna
say
get
we
the
either
lots
need to
back.
give them more time, because
Yeah.
I don't agree that we want to play realtor just like Top Quality Motors,
Yeah.
but I do think hardship happens, and we don't, if, I do know Mike, and this will be the 3rd home he's built in East Grand Forks, and there's not a lot of people that can say that. So we need to treat him right, so I'm glad he can sell the lot.
Question I have is if they sell that lot to somebody else, then do they have 2 years to build
They
on
have
it?
2 years from the date that Lucas.
Okay, so they need to
closed on
understand
the
that.
lot, so they need to
to
move
understand
along
that when they
quickly,
buy
yes.
it.
Yes.
Because I'm kind of looking ahead here, and the next couple more we're going to be looking at is all going to be in the same boat here. They got to
Yeah.
understand, you're buying this thing, you got 2 years, it's yours, we don't want it back.
That's right.
So they need to understand that, you know.
And then
Yeah.
what's the, without being privy to the contract, what's the penalty if that 2-year window isn't hit?
The penalty was a repurchase from us. That was what was contained in the city's agreements. We did not put in there that we are going to force it to be done.
Right.
So, and everybody who's buying the lots now gets a copy of what that clause was in the city's contract when the
So
city.
the
was
city
going
has to
directly.
rebuy that lot at purchase price?
No, we have the option of buying the lot.
Okay, so
We don't necessarily have.
there's
to
no
buy the
leverage
lot.
on the city's end?
It's not a very hard
No.
penalty.
Okay,
And it's just starting within 2 years, not completion,
okay.
right?
I think,
Yeah, I would say starting.
Yes.
the biggest thing that we need to maybe have a short discussion about and to figure out is that even if he puts that lot for sale, doesn't mean it's going to sell in 2 years.
Correct.
So
Yes.
the new person has 2 years, once they buy it, that will give them or a lot or whatever, but.
They just have to come to
Right.
us, but no, they are in theory supposed to fit within the Lucasen deadline.
Okay.
Correct.
They wouldn't resell that 2 year, that's what Dale's
Right.
getting at. It's-
I think the hard part that we might cross here is there's a lot of lots out there still. Not a lot, but there's a lots out there still for sale, and they're not flying off the shelf. We have to make sure that we understand and where we agree to of what we do if that lot still hasn't sold in 2 years and what we want him to do with it. I think the hard part about this is that, yes, we have to give concessions on things. We don't want to push somebody off. We don't want to take something back from somebody. We're not in the business to do that. Like you said, he's built 3 homes. I don't want to be a person that's going to say, yep, take that lot back, because I won't. But we also don't want people to be coming in now going, I can buy some of these lots and sit on them and maybe sell them and make a profit, because what I just saw the city do is they didn't enforce any of their contract. So we have to, I think, come to an agreement of, what do we do even if we're 2 years from today and that lot still hasn't sold?
Then we have the option to buy it back, and that's our leverage.
And we may want to exercise that, but we
At
don't have
that
to
time.
decide that today.
And I think it'll be situational too. I mean, who knows what things are going to look
Just
like.
case by
Well,
case
and
basis
I'm
this?
just-
I mean, that's about, I think that's all that we can do is go
Right.
case by case, because we gave ourselves 2 years. Who knows what things are going to look like in 2 years?
And we're in a goofy time with the cost of materials, getting materials.
Which is why his builder backed
Getting
out, I would
employees.
Well, and I
Probably
don't
guess.
blame him.
Right.
If I was him, I would just hold tight, because it's gonna come back. But at this point in time, I wouldn't build a doghouse.
Right.
Why do we think these lots aren't selling as fast as maybe they should?
I don't know. I mean, they're not selling as quickly as I would expect them to, but in the last year or so, they've sold a lot faster since we hired a real estate company to market
Correct.
them.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm not
we've
saying
done
that.
Well, we did that in the past too, and they still didn't move. I mean, you
Yeah,
gotta remember.
well, I'm just, they are now though, is
yeah.
my point. They
Yeah.
seem to be moving a lot quicker, so whatever, that it seems to
Yeah.
be a little bit more effective, and maybe it's just a momentum thing.
But I think it's twofold. You saw that South End Peabody addition kind of blow up, and that kind of filled, and now people
Got
are,
to shift.
you got to go somewhere.
back over
There's
here.
nothing else available. So,
We were selling 3 or 4 lots per year. Right now, we're selling closer to 8 or 9 lots per year.
I was gonna say double.
Which
There
is
we go, we're
great. I
doubling.
mean,
So hopefully next year we'll double again, right? That's what you're supposed to do in business,
Well,
just double every year.
Well, and activity breeds activity.
Well, I think he owns this lot. He's the one that's got the money invested right now, so I would think that he would want to push pretty hard to
well, I think he's
get
going
his money back, you know, so
Yeah.
he didn't sit there for another 2 years empty, because
Yeah, he wants to sell it. He's asking us to buy it back
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So I mean, that's.
But I'm just saying,
yeah.
I think he's probably going to work a little bit harder maybe of selling his lot than what the lots of cities have.
Transfer the risk back to us when we'd rather let him carry the risk for the next 2
Yes.
years.
Well, that's kind of how I look at it too. We're not the ones having to sell it. It's off our books. We're,
And exactly, I just let it ride.
and I do believe that anything like this that comes up is always a case by case situation for us.
Well, and we're in a unique time.
Right, but I'm just saying that we don't want somebody else to come in now and, okay, I've been on this board for a long time and seen a lot of different things happen with this development out there. Everything we've tried to do, from basically lowering the lot prices down to break even and include the specials with them where they can finance everything at once and make them as affordable as possible. I'm just saying that we don't want to run into situations where other people come in and buy up lots now and then all of a sudden throw them for sale and try and make money on them. Because it might be, like Ben said, it might be the only inventory left in town, and they go, well, they didn't do it to that guy, so if they do it to me, I'm gonna fight it. You know, just to protect us is the only reason why I bring up.
Yeah,
what do
and the
we
only
wanna
thing
do.
I'd say to that is,
This is unique.
it's free enterprise too. So like,
Yeah.
if they can do that and stay within the rules,
that's
more
kind
power
of
to you.
what I was thinking too. I mean, good for them. I mean,
Yeah.
I think for us, ultimately, if the lots are sold, they're sold, and we don't care,
Yeah,
right?
Right.
And we aren't paying,
Because
we
at the
aren't
end of
paying
the day-
tax on them anymore, and we're
Right,
getting our
right.
specials paid for.
That's the other
Paying to
way.
have them mowed.
So we're collecting our money, you know, the
Because
specials
at
are
the end
getting
of the day,
paid for,
they're
so.
for.
That's something you don't wanna
They're paying
see.
tax on it.
Yeah.
If they don't pay tax, it gets repossessed by the county,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
leave it be.
Like I said, I'm not bringing this up anything against
Correct.
Michael and trying to push anything off on him, because I agree, let him roll with this and run with it, and I don't want to take him back.
Nope.
I just want to protect ourselves for the future.
Yep, all right, let's move on to the
If
church
I may,
inquiry.
There is another lot where the owner decided not to build on it. It's Lot 2 and Block 1 over in this area that's also been for sale.
That they're selling on their own.
They're selling after they bought it from us.
And are we still within that 2-year window?
Within the
when
2-year window,
Okay.
yes. We'll deal with this when we need to deal with it.
Yep.
But I'd rather they get the lot sold okay? We really don't want to be in the position.
We have the next 5 years to blame everything on COVID. So we're good.
Yeah,
I
at
mean-
least.
Yeah, at least.
Okay.
If it
All
was
right,
only
let's-
5 years, I'd be happy.
And if all else fails, we can always blame it on the flood.
Yeah, that's only been 24.
You're going to want to keep this drawing because we're going to refer to it for the next couple of things to do.
Okay.
The lot the 4 that's on the curve here, the owner who bought that lot, the one that's on the curve,
Number 4?
on Pebble Beach, the inside of the curve.
Okay.
The person who bought the lot has gotten ill. He wants to donate the lot to the church, and the church may or may not be able to sell it in time, within the 2-year period. So they're asking if we will work with them on it.
How far into the agreement are they?
6 months or so, maybe.
So that's 18 months from now, we'd have to decide.
Yeah, we don't have to decide today. Let it ride. We'll work with them.
So worst case scenario for the church, we want that inventory and we pay the church for it.
Yeah,
Correct.
In that meantime, we let the church market it however they want.
Yeah.
the churches, I've already
Let it
brought
go.
up the church about trying to get to a couple
Again, like
particular
the same
builders that might
last,
work
it's
with
not
them. I also suggested they might want to work with Forks and have Forks build the whole house on there.
Yep.
So
What's that do for taxes on that lot then, if the church gets it? There's got to be some taxes on them empty lots, isn't there?
they're going to have to deal with that. There may not be, I don't know if the church will have to pay property tax on
The
that.
possibly might have to do it because it's not unrelated business tax. It's not tied to their actual business,
Correct.
so they probably have to pay tax. And if it is, it's not much because it's a bare lot, so.
Yeah, right.
Couple $100 a year.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
easy. Okay.
Now, Forks lot purchase request.
If you look along 23rd, Forks has bought Lot 15.
Is that the one that they're currently under construction?
Yes.
Okay.
They have said they'd like to buy lots 14 and 16. They've said several things, and I outlined it for you. One, can they have a quantity discount for buying 3 lots rather than 4 lots? Well, the city council set the policy at
Correct.
4 lots. So unless the city council resets the policy, it's at 4. I'm ambivalent about how many lots you need to get to the quantity discount, but that's a policy decision, and the city council, upon your recommendation, can retain or change that, whatever. They asked if they could, if the quantity discount will apply, can they also apply it to the first lot, but they take on the third lot a double discount instead of the original discount on the first lot, so that we would not have to renegotiate the price on the first lot, but they want to have double off on the third lot.
So they've closed on the first lot.
They've closed on the first lot.
They can, Michael Lucasson will have one kitty corner there if they want to buy a fourth one.
I actually suggested that to them, to get the fourth lot and the corner lot.
Yeah, there you go.
Aren't they-
I suggested both of those.
Yeah.
Aren't they working with one of the realtors?
Yes, they are working with Zach Finney. Okay? The other thing they've asked is that if we can accommodate the fact they're going to be building one house per year, I don't see any issue with that, because they're doing a program house each year.
We know they're going to be built. It's fine.
Yeah, I would say that's not really much of an issue unless somebody has a
So,
over that.
the question is, do you want to recommend that the council look at adjusting the 4 to a different number?
No.
No.
How did we come up with 4 in the first place, if may I ask?
Because if you remember, it came up with regard to
Because
the
you
twin
needed-
homes.
you needed
and
2
it was
lots
2
for a
or
twin
4,
home.
so it was buying basically 2 sets of twin home lots to the
Correct.
4.
So let me ask you this, and something just to throw out there for us all to think about. Could we maybe look at if it's single-family lots of maybe adjusting it, but if it's twin home lots, then yeah, it has to be. It's gonna have to be 2. It's gonna have to be 4 or 6 for a twin home, anyways, because we won't allow 2 for a discount. But I mean, if you take area, size of the lots, and price of the lots, the 3 that they're buying is gonna cost more than 4 that the other builder bought. So it's just something to throw out there.
How about this? What if you got a commitment and this is changing the program altogether, but if you had a commitment to them for 5, so if they're building one home a year, they can never do this.
But we're already giving
Right.
them, they're only got to buy them for $1,000.
They'll make the purchase all at once. They'll put $1,000
They
down.
put
on
it,
the
so
lot.
we're already helping them. They're already putting 1,000 down.
Yeah.
They don't have to pay for the whole lot, plus they're getting a $100,000 program.
But they only have 2 years and they're only building one house a year, so they can't
But they'll
build
be done with it
4.
by then.
Not,
When we set up for the Skeving homes, we had a schedule that he had to start the next pair of homes within so many months
Right.
of the certificate of occupancy
So it's-
for the previous homes. We acknowledged that it may take longer, but it had to be done within a time frame because there was also a
Correct.
maximum amount of time.
Biggest problem I have with these contractors on giving better deals on all this stuff is that they don't pass it on.
Well, but we're
That's
already
what bothers
giving them
me.
a deal.
If they pass it on to the person that was buying the house and said, hey, I got this lot for half price, we're only gonna sell it to you for half price. No, they sell it to them for full price. So I have a problem with that. I
And we
don't
can't
care.
control that, but I mean,
No, but
we did the program to get development.
And we do have development, plus we gave them the deal on the 1,000, plus the 100,000. We're already financing it,
Yeah.
in a sense.
And I brought up, the only reason I brought up of if we're talking about single-family home lots compared to the twin home is not necessarily just for what we're talking about right here, but if we have another builder that comes in and says, will you give me a discount if I buy 3 lots and I'm gonna build
But
3
if
spec
they
homes?
could do affordable housing in there, which this will never happen in this area,
No.
I'd say yes. So I say we leave it alone, as we got it set as a group.
and I don't think you could ever go back and offer a discount on something that's already closed.
Right.
I have trouble with that.
I would, yeah.
I can't pull up to Simonson's and fill my truck and then, you sure I gotta pay $3.35 for this diesel?
The only problem is that we brought that to them. That was brought to them after they closed
We
on
had
the lot to
originally-
be considered, well, what if you would buy a couple more, we'll give you the discount.
We had discussed buying multiple lots, up to 4 lots originally, Ben. And if that had been the case, it would have done, and we held it in advance because they decided at that point they only wanted to go with 1, but they were going to think about buying additional lots. They are now wanting to buy additional lots. So I wouldn't go back and renegotiate on on the previous one, but if we wanted to do an increased discount for the first one on that third purchase, then that's something we can do.
Just
Or we
let
just
it go.
apply it for future.
I think it's a terrible precedent.
Yep,
setting
let it go.
going
We
back
already
on
said it.
stuff.
Yeah.
So,
In regards to discounting the lot,
Correct.
I mean, that's
Speaking
that's
of
not
going,
good.
I have to boogie.
I think that we might want to keep in mind, and that would be a way to divert from the original, is this is a spec home that the school puts together, correct?
Yep.
And so by doing this, we're really doing a partnership with the college. It's not
But we-
Forks Builders and somebody else. I mean,
we
if
already
that's a thing you want to
right.
think about, because, eventually, where are they going to build?
No,
There's not
that's
lots in
not
East
gonna
Grand
be
Forks, and
around,
it's
so-
it's something they've done in the community for, 25 years?
Yeah.
So
But-
if you chose to do it, that would be a reason you could do it, just because it's part of the,
Do we need to vote on this if we're gonna change
I
it or
would
not?
break it down into 3 parts. 1, do you make a recommendation to go stay at 4 or to have a reduced number of lots?
Ultimately, it's up to city council
No,
anyways,
Yeah,
correct?
but it's a recommendation to
Right.
the council.
Well, one other thing I want to throw out there besides what I was saying about the twin home lots compared to single-family home lots, maybe we throw it out there and say that we're not going to double discount another lot, and we won't go back on the one that's already closed, but instead of buying 2 more, if you buy 3 more, we'll give you a break on those 3. Because then that totals 4, but still 1 they didn't get a break on. But they bought 4 lots, and we're giving a break on the next 3.
Well, that would be within the program then, wouldn't it?
No,
Well, no, because
because you're changing it again.
the city council would have to decide to change it to
Why?
3
You
instead
said
of 4.
No, he
Oh,
just
3.
said 4 lots.
Well, you're saying if he's bought 1 and then he buys 3 more, he in essence they have bought 4, but 1 is not going to fall
But
under the
not
program.
all
You're only
four.
giving a
If we're
discount
going to
on
start
3.
doing that, I would suggest that we table it until we talk to the lawyer. Because that's what it's sounding like.
I'm not willing to change the
Okay.
program.
No, because we have builders who bought 3 lots, when they buy their 4th lot, are they going to start getting a discount on it?
Right.
And for everyone in the future?
Yep.
I
That's
think you
why I
have to
don't
buy
wanna
them all
change
at
this
once.
program.
I think you need to buy them all at once.
It's a slippery slope.
It's a precedent issue. that-
You have to decide whether you want to have 3, 4, 5, 10 lots all at once, but don't go doing it at different times. Okay?
Well, I mean, technically, we went back on our program anyways when we gave discounts on lots and then took lots back, on the only time we've done this. Correct?
I don't understand.
don't either.
So when Skeving purchased the lots,
Oh, we bought it back from,
yes, so we bought a lot back and he still got the discount on the first lots.
because he had 4, and he had 6
At
lots
one
altogether.
crack.
So,
he
okay,
bought-
so what we
Still
bought
fit in the
back,
program.
Yeah.
what we bought back was, he still had, okay,
Yes.
Yeah.
gotcha. We bought 2 back, which were, still had 4.
So either we got to have a vote or this is a no.
Do we think it impacts the program at all?
No.
You know, going forward?
I don't think so.
No,
Any
I really
real
don't.
way? They're going
No.
to continue to build one a year,
correct.
so
They're going to build one a year.
it's really.
It just depends on if they continue to buy those lots or if they find something else to buy. If they buy ours or something else, then.
Yeah, I mean, if all of a sudden a new development pops up in town, there would be competition,
Yeah,
obviously.
They used to be down on Peabody's lots.
Yeah.
But they ran out.
yeah, sure.
Okay,
Okay,
so.
yeah. Leave it
So,
alone then.
the question is, remain at 4, or go for a different number, and if that's the case, you need to identify the number.
No,
We need to
leave
make a
as.
motion to say it for then?
So I think somebody needs to make a motion.
I'll make a motion that the program stays the same with 4 lots purchased at the same time.
And I'll second.
Call roll, please.
Black,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Grandy,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Gordon.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
Then we got the next part, right? Is there more to this?
Nope.
I think that by saying 4, it defines what we're going to do. I think if we get the issue of they're buying 3 additional ones and would like to have a discount because they bought 4 altogether, we'll come back and we'll deal with that at that point in time. But
Yeah,
they're-
well, and we just basically agreed that they have to be all bought at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I only throw options to look at
Yeah.
different scenarios of why
No,
I
you bring
brought
up great
things up,
points.
but.
We're going to run out of groups of 4 homes, you know, so
Yep.
we're going to have to be flexible in the future, but for now, I don't think
Well,
I don't see the case being made.
When we
Right.
get down to that few lots, we're not probably going to worry about it.
Well,
Yeah.
Because we're going to try to get rid of those last ones anyway.
that'd be great.
Okay. So,
Legislative limits on grant applicants.
DEED has programs that they're running that were approved by legislation at the state level. The state legislature approved it. In the legislation, they're to benefit Minnesota businesses, but they require that at least 50% of the ownership reside in the state of Minnesota. What it amounts to is that we have many businesses here where the owners live across the river and they live in North Dakota, but they've decided to invest in Minnesota. The unintended consequence of that is that it's a disincentive for somebody who's living out of state to invest in a business in Minnesota. And what I'd like to do is have you back me up so that I can go talk to Representative Keel and Senator Johnson and say, look, this really is not a good idea for us. So can you, in future legislation, keep this out? And the nice thing about this is that we can talk to our other border cities who are in the same situation, but who are represented by people on the other side of the aisle, so it can become a bipartisan issue to try to resolve this in favor of Minnesota businesses that are owned out of state. So I'd like, if you're okay with it, I'd like to proceed and talk with our senator and representative.
I'm all for that. I think that's a great idea, why we wouldn't want people to invest here, even if they're not here. I don't.
Makes no sense.
I'm trying to figure out the logic behind it, and I just can't.
I don't see it.
So,
No.
but
Well, they make these policies not thinking about border cities, basically.
And it's federal dollars, it's not even Minnesota dollars,
well, that's the part that is.
okay?
Well, you'd think they're close enough to Wisconsin, they'd run into that in the cities, but obviously not.
They're politicians. That's all there is to it.
Okay, so I will contact them. Similarly, the Farm Bill. I can't confirm, but I believe that we are the only city below the population threshold in greater Minnesota that is not eligible to access the U.S. Department of Agriculture Rural Development Economic Development Funds because we are locked in step with Grand Forks. And they're not eligible because they're above the size population. The Farm Bill has to come up for reauthorization in the near future. I'd like to reach out to Representative Fishbach and Senator Smith and Senator Klobuchar and ask them to fix the thing so that we can take advantage of these things. It's cost us more than one business because businesses look to take advantage of it because the USDA Rural Development has some really good programs to do this. We just can't have access to them, and it's time to get that part of the Farm Bill fixed.
What is the population threshold?
I think it's 20,000 or 25,000.
And because of Grand Forks, they consider us?
That's right. We're one of a very few cities in the country.
We're all locked together.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because the Grand Forks MSA includes all of Polk County, and if that were the logic, then the other cities, such as Crookston, shouldn't be eligible either, but they are. So let's fix it. Let's get it fixed. So does anybody have any objection to my reaching out to them?
No, sir.
Thing.
What's your proposed language, Paul? Like, what are you gonna tell them?
I don't know what it
to fix in
exactly
the
says.
bill?
I need to talk with them about how to do it. There are a couple people who know exactly what the language is. I don't, but I'll be working with USDA RD. I talked with them about it.
Okay.
About what we have to do to get it changed.
They
Then
have
we can,
interest in us being eligible for it, I
yes,
imagine.
they'd love to have us be eligible for that too. It's something that's frustrating to them as well as to us, because we have to look at a map and there's a boundary, and I have about 3 parcels inside the city limits that are eligible and the rest of it is not, because they draw a little fancy line and then we have to live with the line. So it's time to get it fixed.
It'd be interesting to know who else is in the same boat. Breckenridge,
Very
Minnesota.
few nationally. Very few nationally that are in the same boat.
Where we're combined, and then we're like over this threshold, but individually we wouldn't be. You're really getting
It's
hosed
rare.
here.
It's rare, Brian.
Most places that
Good
the
luck.
population is more equal on one side and they're to both sides.
Yeah, or they're
Like if you look at Duluth and Superior, there's not
Right.
quite such a big difference as
Yeah.
the Grand Forks, East Grand Forks.
And they're above the threshold anyway.
And Moorhead and Fargo, so.
They're above the threshold. Moorhead's too big.
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, one last thing. I just want to point out, Thursday, is the North Country Food Bank open house, their grand opening. We worked with them to help them to move into town here. I'm going to be at the Economic Development Association of Minnesota Conference in Duluth on that day, so I will not be back for that. So I hope that somebody can attend, at least drop in and say hi and make sure they know how much we appreciate them being here. Okay?
I'll let them know when I volunteer too.
Oh, thank you.
I'm out of town, otherwise I'd have gone, but I'm out.
I have no idea where I'm going to end up.
But that's normal day.
Oh, it's worse.
I will be there, Paul.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. That's-
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Call roll.
You don't have to call roll, just say
We're
roll.
going to anyway.
Dang it.
The president decreed we're going to have a roll call.
I am the AHJ. Authority having jurisdiction.
Think of another name.
You're the,
Yeah, I bet. You
You're the
will
big
too.
guy.
Thanks a lot.
you're the big guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll say yes.
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 Thank you. Motion rolls.
Go.
Perfect.
Brenda's full.
I was about to say, that's what I just heard.